I am definitely in my working with ink era. I accidentally bought the wrong ink, and I found that by working in this medium, you can create the most beautiful, really quick illustrations that you could possibly think of. I discovered that by simply working with a water-soluble ink, you can create beautiful illustrations like this. This was an absolute happy accident, and you can see the beautiful tones in this gorgeous little flower. And I discovered that you can just draw your outline and add your water. You can create these beautiful illustrations with very little effort. So all you're going to need for the super easy tutorial is a watercolor brush, some paper, a fine liner pen that uses a water-soluble ink, and that's really, really important, and you're good to go. So let's get started. I'm using my journal that's full of a few different notebooks. Okay, this one is actually from Louise Carmen, but use whatever paper you want to. Ideally, a mixed media paper is something that works out really, really well. But this is what I'm using today, and I'm just clipping the ends down for ease so that you can see what I'm doing here, okay? You're just after a really decent quality paper that doesn't have to be anything special. You're just looking at a sketchbook illustration here today, okay? Something really, really simple and really straightforward. I have a glass of water to the side, and I also have a little cloth here that I'm just going to use when I've done my illustration. Now, it's entirely up to you whether you want to draw with a pencil first of all. I like to go in with a pen straight away so that I'm not scared to get it wrong. It gives you the freedom and makes your illustrations look somehow a little bit more authentic and real, and that's part of the joy. You do not have to be a good drawer, so don't worry if you're scared about putting the ink pen straight onto the paper. This is all about getting that effect of adding the water to the water-soluble ink and letting it do the work for you. I'm using a pen from Tom Studio today because I really like it. It's a 0.1 and it's in black. So we're going to start off by doing a really simple illustration. I'm going to be working from life, and I have drawn these before. These are just little wildflowers that you see here, and we're just going to have a basic shape. So all I'm doing is I'm going in with the base of the flower here. A really simple shape like that. We can add a bit of detail, but we're going to lose a little bit of that anyway. And then we have some shapes coming up. They're just really, really vague, really random. You don't have to be accurate. You can get it wrong. It doesn't matter how silly they look. I'm even making them purposely the wrong shape. I'm going to be roughly working in this kind of outline. So we're going to have a few little spiky bits here coming down, and so on. So we're just going to do this really, really simple shape with these little spiky outlines like so. Okay, like I said, it doesn't matter if they're wrong. It's just all about getting that water-based ink onto the paper. Then we've got a line coming down. Just follow that line. I accidentally bought the wrong ink for this pen, and this is how I discovered this beautiful way of illustrating. We've got a little bit of a wispy bit coming up here, like so. Nothing too accurate. It's all about enjoying the process as usual on our channel. So if you're new here, we are normally a watercolor based channel, but occasionally we do other stuff as well, as we are doing today. If you enjoy watercolour and you are really into your watercolour painting, then you may want to consider subscribing to my channel. We're going to do one at a time. Make sure that you put the lid back on your pen. If you're interested in this pen, it's one I've purchased myself. It's not a sponsored ad. This is from Tom Studio. If you want me to talk a little bit more about that another time, I'm happy to do that for you. I'm going to grab a brush. I'm using number 4 red dot. This is from Rosemary & Co. Okay, so it's just a normal watercolour brush. I'm going to just dip it into my water to the side here, take off the excess, and then you can just go to town. All you're doing is you're just activating that ink to get it moving. Okay, don't be too worried about where you're placing your water. You're just going to get the excess off and just drop it in. Leave some white space, and you can take the water over some of the outlines as well. drag it down the stem. You can see that we have lost a little bit of detail, but we can go in later on with that. And we're just activating that ink to get it started. Okay, so we've lost a little bit of that shape there, but that's not a problem. We're going to leave that be for a second and we can go in with something else. I've chosen this dried nigella plant, so we'll have a go of this one as well. So like I said, if you enjoy working with water-based mediums, then do check out the rest of our videos here on YouTube, where we are creating free tutorials for you every week. We'd love you to be a subscriber so that you can join in with us here. We've got a shape like this, these little spiky bits coming up, and this kind of shape like so. And again, we've got a line coming down like so. I'm trying to make these into like a decent composition. So the line comes down, leaving a little gap there, and we have a piece coming up, and then some bits coming away from there. What makes the nigella pod really interesting is these little sort of fronds that are coming out from the side of it. So what we're going to do is start to take these out. It doesn't have to be accurate in shape. All you're doing is you're creating the illusion of all these little wispy bits coming up and over the nigella pod. This is dried a little bit, and I'm going to go in with a bit more detail in a moment, but we can just start to put a few shapes in here and there. It's a great way of practicing your ink skills if you want to start painting with watercolour. So again, we're just going to add the water to the base here, get it activated, and then start to just wet that paint like so. Just drag it down. The whole thing about this is you're just activating and letting it do its thing. God, this is a terrible tutorial. The monochrome look is really, really beautiful. I'm thoroughly enjoying painting with these beautiful, simple shapes. It's what gives nature its simplicity. It looks really beautiful and really easy to do. So if you're scared about drawing and getting it wrong, give these a go. It's a great way of getting a fast result for really, really simple painting. Once that pigment has been activated with water, much like Inktense pencils, you can't reactivate that ink once it's been activated, okay? You can only get it to move around once you've activated it for the first time. So I wouldn't be able to reactivate this pigment now that it's dry. It's really important that I point that out. Okay, so we've got some really simple outlines here. If you want to do the walnut as well, let's do this one too. Again, I'm using my Tom Studio pen, and we can start to think about the little walnut in the middle, a really simple shape. These are actually from a field outside my garden, and absolutely stunning tree right outside my house. Really blessed, and I picked this off the tree yesterday. They're just about ready to harvest, and it's a case of who can get in first, us or the squirrels. And usually the squirrel is the winner. But today we managed to grab just this little one here. So just a simple outline, okay? Nothing fancy. We can add a bit of detail later on if needed. So we've just got a bit of a shell here. If you want to be a little bit more tight with your painting, you can just activate that ink and make it a little neater. You can control where you're going to add that pigment. So all I'm doing is I'm picking up the ink on the outside edge, and I'm just colouring in with that pigment that I'm picking up. So if you want a tidier painting, you can do it this way and add your bumps in the way that I'm doing here, rather than having an entire colour. Now I have got some ink to the side here that I'm going to be using in a minute. Again, the ink I'm using is from Tom Studio, okay, so you can grab any black water-soluble ink that you have. And I'm going to go straight from the ink pot, picking up some pigment and then gently kind of dropping it in at the base. And again, it's going to go where that paint is wet. Cleaning my brush, just wiping it on my cloth, and I'm just kind of blending that into the existing colour. So you can see it just adds a little bit of shading. Cleaning my brush, and we've got a lovely monochrome little outline there. What you can do is you can drop in a little bit of water and again add your pigment. If you want a high contrast finish on your painting, you can do that. The beauty of working with ink compared to watercolour is it does give you that stronger colour. So if you like that stronger look, then this is something that might be of interest to you. What you can do, again, is the sky's the limit with these. You could just wet your brush, and if you want to blur that out, you can just drop water over everything and it's going to pull that in. I'm going to add a tiny bit of ink to the base of this little dried cornflower and let it do its thing. Cleaning my brush, and we can just let it expand that line if you want to have a really kind of blotchy, inky look. Okay, so anywhere that you want to add a bit of contrast, you can do this with this colour and pull it down. Again, you can add water to make it go outside the pencil line to make it that more kind of natural blurry look that makes it really look like that beautiful inky effect. We're going to let that dry and then we're going to come back and add some detail. The great thing about painting like this is you can keep going. If you don't feel that you've got enough contrast or enough blurry lines, you can still keep going with your pen. So everything's dry, and it is important that you make sure that your ink is dry before you go in with a second layer. Otherwise you're going to ruin your pen and you're going to get messy lines. So if you want to add a little bit more contrast or you prefer a more detailed look, you can go over some of the shapes again. So here you can see the cornflower that I had at the start. I mean, it is rather white, so maybe I should put it to the side here. But there are the bits of detail on the base here that if you want to just add one or two shapes to depict that detail, you can. I mean, they aren't very visible there. You can also extend one or two of the fronds and the bits of the leaves that are coming down and add a bit of outline to the shape there. You can also go over the shapes at the top to create more of that spiky flower shape that we see on the cornflower, because we would have lost a little bit of that detailing as we added that ink to blur it through. So you can go over and add a few more if you want to, just to give it that spiky look that we see in the flower. Now the beauty of painting like this is we're painting wildflowers with ease. We're not adding detail. We're making it a really easy, really fun project without the stress of adding too much detail. Now if you do enjoy painting with watercolour and you really enjoy that more detailed work, then you may want to check out my Patreon, where we create beautiful botanical watercolour paintings in a lot more detail. You won't find any of my Patreon tutorials here on my YouTube channel because these are full length and my gift to you. But if you did want to check out and learn how to paint beautiful botanical watercolour paintings, no matter what level you're at, then do check out my Patreon and let's just take a little look to see what you get. If you enjoy my watercolour tutorials here on YouTube, then you're going to love what's waiting for you over on my Patreon. By joining, you'll unlock exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else, packed with tips, techniques and inspiration to help you become a more confident artist. I've created 3 membership tiers so that you can choose the one that fits you best, our clematis being the most popular, offering all my monthly watercolour tutorials, no matter what level you're at. But if you're serious about improving your painting, our rose tier is perfect for you because this mentorship level gives you one-on-one video calls with me where we can chat about your progress and troubleshoot any challenges to explore new ways to elevate your art. Finding content on Patreon is super easy now. The collections tab keeps everything organised by theme or subject, and the handy search bar makes it easy to find exactly what you're looking for. So if you're ready to unlock your creative potential, build your skills and connect with a supportive community, join me on Patreon today. You can leave and join Patreon at any time. We'd love to see you there. It's a way that you can support my YouTube channel and of course a way to become a better artist. And don't forget, check out that Rose membership level where you can have some one-on-one time with me where I critique your work, give you full feedback and have those video calls so that you can learn to really improve your watercolour painting. Okay, so we're looking at this walnut here. If you want to add a bit more detail, like I said, take your pen and just go over some of the little crevices that you see, the little nooks and crannies, just outlining like so, really, really simple. If you want to add a bit more depth inside, you can just colour in with your pen, like so, just to add a little bit more contrast around the areas that are in shade on the walnut itself. Okay, so this is all about this monochromatic, really easy tutorial where you're actually letting the water do the work for you. If you like that look of that blurry line, this is a really, really good way to practice those shapes. Taking a look at the nigella, again, you've got this little bit coming up here just to show where it goes. And again, you can go over one or two of them if you want to have that sharper look and that sharper line. And so that you're not worrying about, accuracy. You're making them look like these beautiful monochromatic paintings that really come to life when you add the water. That is the whole point. You can make them whatever shape you want to. The sky's the limit with these. It's a great way of practicing your illustrations without worrying about that accuracy and really making your paintings look fun and interesting and come to life when you add the water. I'm not going to be going in again with water, but this is just a demonstration to show you how beautiful these can be with just minimal effort and plenty of joy. The whole point of learning how to paint is that you're enjoying it and having fun as you do it. We don't follow rules here on my channel. We're all about experimentation and just painting what we see and making it work for us without the pressure of what I call watercolour rules. Okay, this is all about learning to paint as you paint and seeing where it takes you. Indeed, I bought this ink by accident and it was one of the best things I ever did, because creating paintings like this brings me so much joy, and you can see how beautiful these look just by adding that tiny bit of detail as you work through. We've got 3 lovely monochromatic sketches here that form part of my already growing sketchbook. I haven't used watercolour paper. I've only used the paper that is in my sketchbook here. This is actually just a dotted ordinary cartridge paper that came with my Louise Carmen notebook. This is actually, I think actually this sketchbook came from, I don't know, I think I bought it in one of the stationery shops in my local town. Nothing special at all, but you can use any paper for these. A mixed media paper does work really, really well. Okay, so you can just apply your ink and add your water as you go through to create these lovely paintings. And just to show you again, just to recap what you can create just by adding a little bit of water to your painting. We have some apples here. Here are a couple more that I've done. Just a coffee and a pastry that I did at the local shop where I went for my local bakery, where I did this little sketch when I was out and about. And again, we've got some wildflowers here that are just gorgeous. Such an easy, really rewarding, fast way to paint so that you can get your beautiful lines down without too much stress and too much worry. So this is where it started, with this beautiful little illustration that I did a week or so ago that I posted over on my Instagram, and you all really loved it. This was done with the same method, just adding the ink, adding the water, drawing the drawing, adding the water, and you can get these beautiful blurred lines. Let it take you wherever it's going to. The whole point of this is you're letting it just do the work for you and having fun and experimenting with different mediums, which is what art is all about. Don't be frightened to get it wrong and have fun with your painting. Do join in. Pick up a pen that has got water-soluble ink. It can be an ink, it can be a fountain pen, it can be a fine liner pen. Whatever works for you, it doesn't matter, as long as it's water soluble. You could even paint this with Inktense pencils. Maybe if you want the monochromatic look, you could use a grey or a black or even a colour on its own and see where that takes you. You could add a bit more detail with your Inktense pencils to make it pop to life if you like that little pop of colour. But I really enjoy this monotone look, this monochromatic look, where you've just got these colours, making it look really illustrative and fresh and exciting. I really hope that you enjoyed this little demo. If you've enjoyed this video, could I ask you to like it below and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. My name's Ray Campbell. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.